one's up really high. There it is. Well, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to the Crazy Crafter live stream. We'll see how we run today. We're super thrilled to welcome John Hosenfeld from the Tabletop Crafters Guild onto the stream. Welcome, John.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yep, joined as always by Michael Patterson from Nat One Videos. How you doing, Michael?
Very good. Very, very good.
Excellent.
Look forward to this one today.
Say again.
Look forward to this one today.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. And then Daniel West. Hello, and we'll see if we can get you back on later, but we're still having some issues with the connection for the stream here, brother. So
I will preemptively take off. So
all right. We'll see you in the chat, brother. For sure. Well, John, welcome to the Crazy Crafter live stream, brother. Super thrilled to have you here. We saw your modular ruins here on the Tabletop Crafters Guild, and we knew we had to have you on to teach us all how to build this awesome piece of terrain. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how you got into the craft, and then we'll dive into the build we're working on today.
Yeah. Well, I got into crafting and scenery, things like that. I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh. I've always had an interest in things like this. I've always had an interest in modeling when I was very young, and I just never really got out of it. And so then I went to the Art Institute of Pittsburgh and went into industrial design. And that's where I learned about the green foam. This was in 2000. And that's where I learned about green foam, using it for just basically what we're using it for, and other things too. We've used green foam for a lot of different things, even large scale sculpting, actually using it as the core for your sculpture. And then you sculpt over top of it with Roma Pastelina modeling clay. So this stuff's been in the industry forever, and so that's the kind of my end of it. Is that's how I got into it. I just always was interested in it, and dabbled in it for a while.
Nice. So how long have you been crafting now?
Oh, well, for a long time. Well, ever since 2000. Now, it's not been a steady thing, It's kind of one of those things where I get into it. Depending on what kind of job. Sometimes you get a job where it's, you're really working a lot, and, it's kind of like, but I try to do it as much as I can. I always do something, either woodworking, as in wood carving. I'm always dabbling into something. Right now, I'm just kind of dabbling back into the miniatures, the tabletop terrain, things like that. But I've been doing it for a long time.
Nice. Yeah, we chatted earlier in the week, and I was really impressed. You were showing me some of your other builds too. You're another fellow carving enthusiast on the stream today, Michael. He's got some really good skills carving some wood. You've added some really neat textures with some of the you showed me. You have to show it later in the stream, but there's a 2x4 you carved with like some jungle ruins out of you made a giant skull and added in there. So it's awesome to see so many different textures within your builds, brother. And we're really excited to have you on the stream today to show us how to build these modular ruins. Now, when we were talking earlier, you said that you thought this was a really cool build for beginning crafters. Why is that?
Yeah. Well, it's even for someone that's busy and don't get to craft as much as they would like, building your different terrains and stuff. But it's nice because you're going to build one thing, but you're going to get multiple pieces out of it. A lot of times, especially your war gaming, you want to fill your table up. You want line of sight block. I mean, it's real simple. You want line of sight blockers. You want cover, things like that, so you can tactically move through the battlefield. So this train here is nice because it's going to give you multiple ways to set up either your dungeon. You could do it. You could totally use it for Warhammer and games like that too. It just along with, your role playing and so it's a versatile piece, and it gives you multiple pieces in one piece. So you're getting the most bang for your buck.
Awesome. Well, that's what we like. Michael, I don't know about you, but I like bang for my buck. I like or bang for the pound, as it were. I don't know if that's a term that is used. We'll go for bang for the buck. Well, this is a really unique build. You're getting some love in the chat already here, John. Sanders saying how excited he is. He's like, he loves the awesome gridless terrain. So this is a really neat piece of terrain. Well, we have the slideshow playing right now on the stream, showing everyone kind of this setup that we have here. Now, this is a 14 by 14 inch square that we're showing today on the slideshow section. Tell us a little bit about the different unique qualities and setup. Now, you also have it set up on your phone right there in front of us. That's what we're looking at right there. Show us how a little bit about the versatility of the piece that you've built here before we start building it.
Yeah. Okay. But it's pretty much, I was thinking, to have a pit fighting ring, arena. There's some games, tabletop games, where it's literally just a arena and you just battle it back and forth. I've never played it before, but also that's why I kind of wanted to have it set up like that. But I also wanted to get more out of just something like this. And also your storage. This can be kind of problematic, because it's the size of it. And this here is pretty much the same concept. I'll run that through real quick later. But anyhow, so you'll have your arena. And one tip I can give you for whenever you're wanting to build your arenas and things like that is, let me pull this off real quick, is try to watch your scale whenever you're setting them up. Try to set them up to where you got line of sight with your bow, with whatever you're going to use. Plus, you're going to have cover, but whenever you're doing it, but we'll get into that later. So anyhow, so this is just a regular arena. Now, it also can be, and I'm going to move this over here, it's held on by magnets. All of this is held on by magnets. You can separate it. Okay. Now, what that'll do is that'll give you a whole separate piece.
Right.
Okay. So you got to imagine here would be a gaming mat. This could be water. This could be lava. This could be whatever you wanted, whatever gaming mat you had. Now you're using the positive and negative spaces. You can actually channel your players in through here. You could have your main objective could be right here. Now you can change this around too. You got to remember you're using positive and negative spaces. So you can change just by flipping two pieces, you can completely change the shape of it. You could make a couple of these and set one here to fill this space, Now you're going to have 1 entry, 2 entries, 3 entries. You would have one here, 4, 5, 6. You would have a 6 entry room. There's just so much. It's kind of just one of those things you just kind of got to look at and play with. You could do this. Now you could also just take this, move him over, and bring these together.
Oh, that's cool.
So see, there's so much you can do with this. And you could also even just, let me see which way this goes. You could even just make this into, I'm going to slide him over into a pit. There's just so much you can do. You could probably sit here for a while. Oh, and I do want to show you one important part, though. So now you would have a pit for your players. This could be whatever, whatever you want. But also these would make, actually kind of found this out on accident, but these make really nice foundations, which is really nice for your tabletop. Now see, whenever you turn them like this would be the foundation. And this area here would be broken. Of course, this would be blowed out, but it's an actual foundation piece. So see, you're kind of, like I said, you're getting the most bang for your buck. Now this could be an old foundation, old ruins. Now you can kind of funnel your players. Man, I'm telling you what, you can make some vicious booby traps. You could really have them on their toes because now you're funneling them, you're bottlenecking them, you're giving them multiple entries. You got to think about stuff like that. See, you know what I mean? And that's what's fun is it's not one-sided. You can really have them to where they're kind of hopping like, I don't know, let's go this way. Let's go this way. So there's a lot you can do with it, but that's why I did that. So that way I can kind of have multiple pieces out of one build. You're getting a lot of different builds,
Right.
There's a lot more you can do. I mean, that gives you the gist of it.
Well, it's nice too. It's the type of terrain that I think every player and certainly every DM enjoys as well, being able to create multiple different types of encounters and settings with the terrain on the tabletop. It also has the unique ability it can stack too, right, John?
Yeah.
Yep. Show us how it stacks there.
Yep. Okay. And the way this stacks is you're going to have magnets, and on your piece, that's what's going to hold it together. Because this foam is so light, it would be a nightmare. It really would. So you're going to have your base. Okay. Now this base will go in here. Now, see, I have magnets. And these magnets here are right here and there. Now, in here on the actual piece is a nail, and you can barely see it, but it's there. I mean, you can see it.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
There's a nail right there. And then I have another nail pushed in right here. It's a cut nail. I got that set in here. I just shove it in. And once you shove it in with the placement of your magnets, you slide that in and there it is. It's going to stay. So then basically you just stack them. I just number mine. So I'm going to go with that's 1. Here's number 2. And that's in. Number 3. That's in. Number 4. And that's in.
Oh, nice.
So now you have a tower for your, whatever you'd want. It could be anything. Now I made the blocks big enough to actually, you could have an ambush. This could be an area of ambush where you have the higher ground. I mean, really, there's just so much you can do with it. It's all in what your imagination and what you want to do. And it looks pretty good over on this side too. It could just be there, but it makes a nice piece for, like I said, different elevations. You always want elevations, that way your players can play off of it, whether it's a war game or anything else. You want to have cover and you want to have elevations. That's real important because it adds a dynamic battlefield, which is what you want.
That's right. I think, and I think like you said right there too, this piece not only works in the fantasy realm, but this will work, this would work great for either your D&D tabletop or 40K terrain as well.
Yeah, this is actually designed more for Warhammer type deal, but it works for both, right? I mean, it really does. It's fine for anything. It really don't matter. Your D&D, you can be just as strategic with your playing your D&D as you can with Warhammer,
Sure. Yeah, it's quite remarkable, John. I'm looking forward to building it now. For today, we have a couple different options. I prepared kind of the 14 by 14 square that you built here and you've been sharing with us right now on the stream. But I know you've worked on another prototype for the stream today. It sounds like you got inspired. Before we get into that new inspiration, you're busting out this other piece of terrain that you've constructed. Yeah. Tell us about this as well.
It's just the same exact piece. It's the same thing, just done a little bit different. But anyhow, so this piece here, same thing. Here's the foundation. You got your entry. This is done a little different. This is actually done hand carving. None of this is single. This is all and it's super simple to do, very easy to do. But anyhow, we're just going to go over what. So anyhow, this is basically the same exact thing. The only difference is now to put this together, this is actually, let's see, the way I kind of did this one is this will go this way. So here's your nail. That's, I don't know if you can see it. Here's your nail. Here's your nail. Same thing. Here's your magnets. Now, here's your piece that it comes together. Now I got one more too. I thought this kind of looked funny. It didn't look architectural. I said, that really kind of don't. And so I just slapped the magnet in and I just kind of shoved it in and there it is.
Now that's a great solve for that. That looks great.
Yeah, it won't go anywhere. It's magnetized. But yeah, so I mean, there's so much you can do with it. And this helps, like you're saying, for gameplay. You have an area down here, you got this area, and you got the top area. Now, what's nice about this is you don't really have, you can look out over here, you do have cover here, but your flank's open. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like now you could be over here and your flank is open over here. You know what I mean? So you're never truly safe on this piece here, you know, but it's kind of one of those things. The way I blew this out in here is it's kind of really, you can kind of move into here. You can come in, take this. Like I said, you're not ever really truly covered because you could flank in this way, take your shots up in here, or vice versa. If you're here to stop this flank coming in, guess what? You're completely open over there.
Yep.
So that's why I designed this the way it is. So it makes for good gameplay. It makes for fun gameplay.
For those of you that are taking a look at that stone texture, bring the camera a little closer to that stone texture there. That's something that John was saying that he's drawn and carved into the foam. That was done, I believe, if I recall correctly, John, you said you used a wood burner, right? With a very, very fine point that to create and carve that stone texture in there, which looks really good too. I really like that stone texture you carved in there.
Yeah, I use this here. All it is just basically it's a wood burner. Right. And it's got the call it key on it here. And I just basically cut a piece of wire, shove it down in there, and I use that. You got to kind of fool with it because if it's too short, it'll actually be too hot and it'll melt your foam. Whoa. You want to get a variable one. This one here, I would give a demo. It's dead. It don't work no longer. I lost it on that project there was the killer for this. And I've had this thing for years. But this makes it really nice because you can actually, you just draw. What you would do is draw in whatever stone you want. You just draw it. If you can draw it, if you can imagine it, you just draw it in. So here's your piece of foam. You just draw it in. This kind of, to me, could be a wall, could be a riverbed. Now, what you would do is just come in. Like I said, I wish this works because I could give a demo. And you would draw it out first. Then once you draw it out, you just burn it out. You don't want to go real deep. You just want to go just deep enough to kind of a realistic depth. Burn it out. Once you burn it out, you're going to get an X-Acto, and all you're going to do is just bevel all the edges. Once you bevel all your edges, you're going to wind up with a piece that's going to kind of look like, well, it's going to look like this right here. And these stones here, see how they got kind of a rounded edge.
Yep.
But you just come in and you just basically just bevel all your edges. Come in and you'll just cut that out, then remove it. It's funny with one hand. It's different. But anyhow, yeah, you just go ahead and just remove that piece. You just beveled one side, and you just bevel it all out, and it'll look rounded. It'll look like just regular rounded stone.
I'm trying something here real quick with my hot knife to see. But now I know the hot knife, especially with this thicker tip, gets hot real quick and is not able to get as fine a point. But I'm trying something very, very gently here with the hot. Man, I'm not even touching it right now. I'm trying to get that.
On that.
Say again.
You not change the temperature on the hot knife?
I don't know what the temperature what it gets at. That's a great question, Michael. I don't know. But like I'm trying to see if I can. Man, I'm like hovering it up over here. You can't see it yet, but I'll show you guys later. I'll demo the hot knife technique, but I'm just trying to see if I can replicate John's stone texture with the hot knife here. Yeah, you can get this is really rough and really gnarly, but see how thick my lines are thicker, and that's just like that's hovering above it. I'm not even really touching the foam,
Mhm.
so it gets hot quick.
Mhm.
So that's that really fine point that you're able to achieve on there is definitely why I think that wood etcher works a little bit better. And I would suspect, I wonder if the wood etcher, do you think, Michael, it's at a cooler temperature than the hot knife?
Well, probably. I'm actually just going to go and get my soldering iron. I think the soldering
Oh,
iron might.
that would work great too. Try that. Yeah, that's a great one. Um, let's see. Teen. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. One of the um, viewers here saying got myself a new wood burner with adjustable temperature. Starts very low. Loves it. So you have another person in the stream here that's agreeing with you, John. They love their wood burner for this stuff. Um, so it burns between 125 and 200 degrees Celsius. Daniel, what is that? Translate that to. That's it burns. It's pretty sizable. I forget what the combustible foam, what the combustible temperature to work with the foam is. If anyone knows that, throw that out there too. Um, and John, what are you showing us there? With that, you got some
It's
really fine lines there on that piece there as well. Is that
it's
with
it's the
the
same thing. It's
same
it's the
thing?
same thing. This is just Mod Podge, but so you would draw it on. So I went ahead and drew this on, and then I went ahead and burned the lines. Then after that, I beveled these edges here,
Oh,
which gives you
nice.
your grout line. Now, these edges here, I did not. I left them straight 90s. That way you got two line differences. And then in here, did the same thing. Now I picked this out. I picked all this out, turned
Yep.
this into negative space, left
Yep.
this raised positive space. So basically it's the same thing. It's the same thing that I did. This is just a little demo with what you can do. You're kind of basically carving in your foam. So you can actually add some really cool stuff with your foam. This stuff's amazing.
Yeah, it's great. And you get to play with. I haven't played with the green foam. You get it in. Out here in the desert, man. We don't really have a lot of insulation to play with. We get one thickness and one type. We have that pink, foamular that is readily available
Yeah.
around the world. But do you find a difference between the pink and the green, or the pink and the green for you, or is it about the same?
I've honestly, I think I've used the pink one time. We called it pink foam, and then we call this green foam. I don't remember. I don't
Mm,
recall difference. There might be around here. We get the green.
I
It's
see.
just the green is everywhere.
The green is everywhere.
Yep.
Well, I haven't. I've been told it's available out here in California, but I have not. I have not found the exact location of it. So I'm gonna be looking for it. Oh yeah, we're getting scientific in the chat today, John. We've got the question I propose is the translation for from Celsius to Fahrenheit. We put the Sanders put the equation in there equals the Fahrenheit. I'll have to save that equation now, Sander. I'll have it right, and then let's see the melting point for polystyrene 210 to 249 degrees. Yeah, so pretty low temp. Those the fine point of the wood burner technique that you're using is able to get in there quite nicely. Did you grab
Mhm.
your soldering iron, mate?
I did. Yep.
Oh, nice. Yeah, you have to try it out, and you'll have to let us know. Yeah, there is a difference in the soft. The UK foam teen is definitely I think a little bit softer. It is able it just takes texture really well. It's one of the reasons why I really love all of Gerard's techniques that he showed us last week. That you can really impress and texture the foam nicely with just the pencil. But you can do the same thing I feel with any of the foam, because I did the same texturing technique last week, and it all turned out great. Oh, that's what I forgot. My bridge. I forgot to bring my bridge and share how it turned out on here. I'll post pictures on Instagram. Make sure you guys see it. Okay. Well, where are we at here, John? All these techniques are great. Like using the wood burner is a great way to texture. I'm excited to start building these this piece of terrain today. So tell us a little bit about the circular setup that you started playing around with. You showed us the 14 by 14 setup, which is the one I'm gonna craft. But Michael's also there prepping a circular setup like you've got going on. What do you got going on here?
Mhm. Basically, it's the same thing, same layout. It's just in a circular shape. There's a little bit of a difference, just kind of more of a geometry type thing. You're going to have to do like one step more if you do the circle,
Yeah.
but it's
What's
no
that?
big deal.
What's that extra step?
Well, what'll happen now, there might be a way to do it to get you out of it, and I'm sure there is or always is. But what happened with me was I found that my inner circle, which is now the base that all these four corners will sit on whenever you decide to do your tower, was too small. These were longer than my circular. And you can actually see in here, you can kind of see the old line.
Yep.
Well, what I did was, and you probably should do this, I didn't run into this problem at all with the square, but what you ought to do is you need to, once you get your shape, trace over it, okay? Because these will all be cut out. So this will be cut out. Trace over it, cut it out. Now take it and lay it on the base, because that'll be your first piece, and see how that's going to fit. You don't want this to overhang your base. So that's why I kind of got these 4 points. 3, 4. It's almost like a compass, north, south,
Yeah.
west, and east. But anyhow, that way, now it's only going to go one way, but I kind of just wanted to make it symmetrical, because you're going to be looking at this from, you got to remember, you're going to be looking at this, you're going to have players looking at it from all angles.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't get stuck on looking at something like this and be stuck on it like that, because you got to remember, this thing's going to be, there's going to be people standing all around it, so it should look good at all angles, So that's the only extra step I think you're going to get, which is not a big deal. Just test and make sure that your piece is going to fit on the base itself, that these pieces, once we cut it, will fit on the base and not overhang. If it overhangs, I guess it's not a big deal, but I don't know. Like I said, I like my pieces to fit on a base and be in that base. You know what I mean?
Right. Now, where are you at, Michael, with your process? I see you busting out the rule over there. Where are you at with the prep for this the circle ruins for you?
I'm copying John. I just changed what I did because of that exact problem. I just realized that my center area was too small, and so I'm now adjusting because of what John just said. I'm fixing the problem. And rather than draw it out, I'm just going to measure the base instead.
Now, I've got my piece here set up, so I've got a question for. Let's see. There we go. Here's my piece of large 14 by 14 setup here. So for mine, or before we jump into to mine, what else was there? Did you want to share about the circle ruin setup, John? Was there anything else?
No, not really. It's just, I wanted something different. I already had a square, is basically all it was. I had the square and I was like, I don't want a square. I got one already, you know? So I thought, well, this would be cool because it kind of looks kind of like a tower. And now I've never done this before. So once we cut it and actually look at it broken apart, I don't know how it's going to look. I don't know. I got a theory that I don't think I'm going to like this quite as much as the square because these are more geometric to shapes, as in like foundations. You're going to find more 90-degree corners on your foundations. I don't know. We'll see how this looks once we break it apart. So I really don't have quite an opinion yet, but building this is the same exact technique as what I used on building this, other than the wood burner. I didn't use the wood burner, or I wasn't able to do that on this. This will be cut out by hand the old school way, right, which is fine. There's no big deal.
No big deal. Now, something interesting was proposed in the chat here, John. Sander was suggesting, he's like, wonder if 5 sections instead of 4 would solve the overlapping issue if you made it an odd number of sectioning. That's interesting.
It's possible.
Yeah, it was something to try. You'll have to try it out, Sander. You'll have to try it out and then send us a picture to either Instagram at crazycrafter, crazy.crafterxbs at Instagram, or email it to us at crazycrafterchannel1983 Gmail. You have to share it with us. Would love to see how you come up with a solve, and you could show us something. Now, for the square piece here, John, I've got my 14 by 14 set cut. So how far in do you go with your measurements? Is it 2 inches is what, if I recall? Is it 2 inches you told me?
Whenever you're building, I tell you, it really don't matter.
Yeah.
But what I'm going to say though is, especially with this project, it's tricky in a sense that you got to remember you're working on just a ring, but also you're working on a tower. So you're going to have to take things into play. The biggest thing you need to take into play is your character and the way they can move through. Whenever I build, I always have a miniature with me so I can check the scale. It's just the easiest way to do it. So you want your line, which this will be your line right here. Okay. You want your characters, you want at least about 1 inch of clearance, because you got to remember, you can remove this.
Right.
This now will be a cliff. Okay. So you don't want to come in too far to where where it don't look right, your characters can't pass. So this here has become a choke point. I checked it and said, well, I'm only going to come out and make this just a choke point, but I don't want to keep my characters from getting through. You know, it's no big deal. So really, whenever you're doing it, just take a look and say, well, where do I want my brick? You know, do you want this one here? I didn't give much of a lip. Right. Now you can move your brick into here, which is going to move everything out. You know, yeah. I did 2.5 inches just to answer your question. I'm pretty sure that this is 2.5 inches. Okay. So if that's what you want to do, but it don't have to be, just as long as it looks right. You know, your characters can kind of.
I'm going to go with the 2 inch. I think I measured out 2 inches that first one. I'm going to go with that and see how that works out. I'm going to start, so what I'm doing now is I'm going through each of the edge. I've measured and cut out my 14 by 14 inch square here. And now I'm going through and marking. Let me see if I can adjust the camera here a little bit. I'm going through and I'm marking the halfway points, the 7-inch mark, and then I'm coming in 2 inches from there. That's going to give me a pretty good idea of how to create and generate these modular like corner pieces, basically the ones that are going to break apart from the main arena. Does that sound like I'm heading in the right direction, John?
Yeah, I mean, you can always just do a dry run. Take your block. You can set your block up. Okay, say none of this is glued. This is just, I could just do a dry run. I could do a dry run to here, and just set my block up. You don't glue them or nothing. You just put your character here. Say, oh, well, that looks good. And also when you're building your block, yeah, I mean, whenever I'm building, I always have a miniature on hand, always, and this guy kind of is the one because he's a little taller. But I always keep one that way. I can kind of look at it and real quick comparison to scale. instead of using a roller or whatever, So just I think you should be fine. Like I said, just remember, you're going to have a little bit of a bottleneck right here. That's the only thing you got to worry about,
Right.
That and, have some room. You got to remember too, you're going to have some miniatures that might be a little bit bigger. You know what I mean? So maybe you might not. Yeah. You want it to be a little bit bigger so you can get numerous minis on here, maybe a little bit bigger of a miniature. Because like I say, and this will be a cliff at one point someday,
I grabbed my current PC from my D&D campaign, which is a battle raging dwarf barbarian. So he's on standby here.
Good. Yep.
Okay. Well, I'm good, John. I'm gonna start kind of tracing out the interior, or I'm gonna start tracing stuff out, and then I'm gonna get ready to start cutting. Continue walking us through your process here for the circle cut, and we'll continue to follow.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead real quick, Michael. Yeah, please go for it, brother.
Whenever you are building your wall and the two pieces, are you building it so the walls interlink and it kind of looks like the wall is seamless, or does it matter that there's, you know what I mean?
Now what I couldn't hear you on that. It's kind of breaking up a little bit.
Oh, I'm just wondering, whenever you build your walls on the separate pieces, do you build it so that they interlink together?
You can. Here's the thing. I didn't on this one. Well, I'm not sure what you're asking. I think I know what you're asking. Right in here, this here will be separated, okay? Which means I have a wall here. What I did is I treated that separation point as basically the end of a wall. So it's a 90 degree, they're not connected, okay? That way, whenever you pull your pieces apart, of course, they're going to come. Now, I've thought about where you could actually interlink all of these as long as you don't glue them and slide them apart. The only thing I would be worried about is your paint rubbing off over time from sliding each piece in and out. And that's why I kind of didn't do that, because, I mean, you're painting with acrylic. I mean, if you would spray it with like an enamel, it might not come off. I don't know. I'm not sure. But to answer your question, this would be a point of separation. When I built the walls, I just built them straight and I did not interlink them. So when I cut this, when I go ahead and make a cut, this will all come right apart. And you'll see that now over here, this is it, because this piece will have an entry. This will be an entry and that'll be an entry. So I just treated it almost as if it was just broken up and kind of fell apart right there, I don't know if that answered the question or.
100%. That was right. Yeah, that's what I was asking.
Cool.
Okay.
Well, yeah. So, what's the next stage? I've got kind of mine drawn out. I made some thicker pieces here instead of letting them come in a little bit narrow. Mine ended up being, if you can see mine here, John, I'll hold it up for you. I've got some thicker corners that I'm working with here today.
Okay. Okay.
Which will be, they're still going to be stackable. I tried to make them as close as possible here, but
yeah,
we'll see how it turns out. Now, do you add the grout lines and texture? What's the next step? Do you cut this out next, or do you add the grout lines in for the stonework on the arena?
Yeah. What I would do, be sure that your pieces that is going to be pulled apart, your outer edges, basically your quarters, make sure they're going to sit on your base. They might sit, but just make sure. So you could just pick one and say, okay, that piece there is going to be my bottom piece that's going to sit on the base. Pick that section, which would be, I don't know, whichever one you wanted, really, this section or anyhow, trace over it. You shouldn't have a problem, but I want to make sure. I don't want that to happen, because once you cut, you're done. I mean, it's a done deal. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of want to drive it home. That way you kind of get past that. But just like I was saying here, basically what you're going to do, get a sheet of paper. Now you got it drawn out, don't, never mind all this, but you got it drawn out and you say, okay, this is the layout that I like on my piece. Okay. You're going to pick just a quarter. Okay. And trace over it. And this will actually work for two reasons too. I'll show you later. But anyhow, so you're going to trace over that. Once you trace over it, cut it with an X-Acto. Now you got a replica. Then just set it on your board. You know what I mean? Now you're going to be able to look and say, oh, that fits nice on my board. And I do this technique a lot with a lot of my builds, because now, see, you can move your piece around instead of having to worry about using your imagination. You can go in here and you could just say, okay, well, that's kind of cool. Or, I can do this or do that. And so that'll be your next step, will be just to double check. You should be fine. But whenever you're doing a circle, watch out, because
famous last words for me, I should be fine.
You'll be all right. You'll be all right. That's what me and my buddy always say. Yeah, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. But yeah, I think the square, I think you should be fine. Circles, you got to watch that, like I said, because you'll be hanging off. So basically just do that and see how you're looking. I think you'll be fine. I think it'll work out.
This out here a little bit more. Is that what what step are you working on right now, John? What's your next process and your next step there?
I'm going to finish this. I'm just going to go ahead and slap some of this tile down. Finish these floors. I'm going to knock these out real quick. I really, really wish that I had and that's a bum deal. I wish I had that soldering iron or wood burner, because I'd be able to do it like that. But this here is fine. The only time that wood burner truly shines is when you're using really small detail. Because whenever you get into that real small stuff, it's a pain in the butt. That wood burner really makes it nice. So I'm just going to go along here. I'm not even, just kind of doing my thing here. I'm going to finish this off.
Oh yeah, this will work. Boom. All right, we're doing it. We're doing it.
Good to go. Make that plunge.
I'm making this cut. This is happening. All right. I like the idea of the template. I could totally see. John recommended parchment paper earlier too, which works really good. So you can that kind of see through, so you can easily trace. I had some issues trying to cut that or not cut it, but trace it earlier. Definitely a little easier with that parchment paper. All right, I'm gonna rip on over to the Proxon here and try this out. I'm gonna kind of be off microphone for a second while I rip and cut this out carefully. So I'm gonna turn the camera this way. Boop. Let's see how that looks framed up. Oh yeah, that's pretty close. I can come back just a little bit. All right. I'm on headset here, but holler if you need me. I'm gonna step on over, and I'm gonna cut this foam. Boom. Ooh yeah.
My cat is meowing.
Hi,
Trying to get. Better let him in.
Let the kitty in.
Let him in so I can let him out the back door. Done. So, John, been playing games during this whole pandemic thing.
Say again, brother.
I was asking John if he's playing during this year.
Oh,
What is that now? If I'm taking care from the pandemic?
Just wondering if you've been playing.
No. We're not seeing much of anybody. We're staying on down low, and we're not even really going to stores, which kind of stinks, but it is what it is until this is over. We're doing as much as we can to keep the numbers down and play it safe.
well, that's great, John. That's same. We're doing the same out here. I know it's probably hard for you guys to hear me, but I'm doing the same thing.
Yeah, we had our numbers really shot through the roof. I think a lot of people thought, well, Jefferson County, Ohio, ain't no big deal,
Yeah.
But it wound up being a big deal. It kind of blew up, and they said that our county is real high. I mean, for per capita, it's up there. It's up there.
We're entering a lockdown again here in California, so
Mm-hmm.
we're shutting it back down. Our it's like new cases, new skyrocket. It's just new cases. We're breaking new records every day. That's like you said. It's all around. It's all around the country right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm glad you guys
Setting
are
records
staying
you
safe.
don't want to set.
Yeah, right. I'm glad you guys are staying safe.
Yeah, we're trying. We're kind of, like I saying, it's a hard situation because I can feel for people with businesses. It's terrible. I mean, terrible. Because you're sitting on a business and you're dependent on that money, and they're shutting you down and shutting It's just, man, it's a no-win situation all the way around.
So you don't. You're more Warhammer than D&D, so you don't play like on Roll20.
No, I like D&D. I play D&D, and I like the Warhammer. Now Roll20. I got a buddy I was trying to play with, and we never really could get a game. Like, we got a couple games going, and it kind of just never went anywhere. And just because of time and stuff, nothing, no big deal. But we talked about doing the Roll20, and it just never really kind of manifested itself, But we looked into it, and we said, well, we could do that. And this is before the pandemic. This was just because we didn't have any time.
Right.
Yeah, it was just, it's hard. It's so hard to get people to meet up, because people work in different shifts, different schedules. It's tough, trying to find people because, one person's working, the other person's not, at least around here. I never had a 9-to-5 job. Mine was always swing shifts and working midnight, afternoon, day, and you worked Saturdays and.
Well, I'm happy to report I did not ruin my piece. I am back in business here. Yeah, it's hard, John. Like you said, gathering people together for on a consistent basis is challenging. We've got 6, 7 at a time that play in our group, and we've tried to maintain it during we have maintained it. Thankfully, we've got a really good DM out there that helps us maintain it. We've tried Roll20, we've tried Foundry. Sometimes all things have crashed and we're end up like in a Google Hangout just trying to play.
Yeah.
So
really, honestly, you could play it on Skype.
Yeah, you could do it.
Why not?
There's so many different ways to play it, and it's good that um, it's good that there are so many options out there for everyone to keep playing. Um, John is making a sort of circle first, and he cuts later. What Teen's asking a question about the cutting. I'm not sure. So when you are you going back in with an X-Acto and making those grout lines?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's the way I do it. I just
Wow.
basically just go. It's super simple. It's real easy. Just draw it. Draw your line.
Yep.
Now come in at an angle, a steep angle. Hold
Yep.
your angle. You want this blade to cut into the foam. You'll never ever see it. So I'm going to try to hold this like this. So just kind of come in like that and give her a slice.
Nice.
Now come around this way, give her a slice. Pull it, and you're done. So just, yeah, that's what I use. Use a sharp, really sharp X-Acto. That's the key.
Now I'm going back through here, guys, just so I help remember. And I don't know if you've done this, John, but like I'll forget which side is which instead of having to remember what puzzle. I'm just numbering 1 and 1 on the back side of my puzzle piece here, so I can keep it all together. I believe this is number 2. It is. I'm gonna write 2 here on that piece. This side gets a 2. That one's upside down. I wrote my 1 upside down on the other side. But that's okay. And then 3 is this piece, I believe. Yep, that works. So this will be 3, and I can go ahead and mark this as 4. Mark this as 4. Boop. Nice. All right, so once you've got going in beveling, how are you drawing your grout lines in there, Michael? What are you doing?
I just did the knife. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh yeah. What is that? Just with the knife? That looks fantastic. That looks really good. I like that. Okay. So I was having an idea. I was like, what am I going to use for the grout line and textures? I tried something. I think it was before we started the stream today. So I'm going to try something a little different. I'm going to use the head of this nail. I'll show you what I mean by that. Check this out. Boop, boop. Okay. I'm going to... I really liked the way... I tested it out earlier on a piece of foam. Yeah. So I got some really deep grout line textures with the flat of this nail head here, guys. So I'm going to try that out. I'm going to see how that goes. It's going to be a little dark, but maybe I go back in with a Sharpie afterwards. And... make it like, oh yeah, look at that. That's some cool lines. I like that. I'm liking this. Oh, that's a cool one. Oh, I can't dig too far in. I'll kind of dip the nail head down in there, but that's okay.
Like I said, these are ruins. I mean, you're
right.
Trust me. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, it's cool, man.
It's not going to matter much.
No, like we were talking about, if you're building something, say you're wanting to do something that's maybe like a Dorver and Castle or something where they would really have great masonry work, then yeah, you probably want to keep everything straight and nice and keep all your depths cut even, but this here, like this is just a old ruined tower. So I would imagine, at least in my imagination, I would imagine it being everything but perfect. It's going to be old. It's going to be wore out, tore up, chewed up.
Yeah.
And that's what's going to make it look good. That's what makes it look good.
Say that again, Michael.
My room, my favorite.
Right. It's never ruined. It's meant to be. Yeah, I'm just going through with this nailhead. I like this nailhead here feature, guys. For all you guys can check it out on the stream here. You can see this and check it out. Let me show you how this is coming along. But I like the texture and the grout lines that it's drawing in there. It looks really good. I'll show you guys here too. You can check it out. This is the beginning of mine with the nail.
Let me see it.
The flat of it. It's coming along.
Yeah.
Digging it.
That looks good.
Yeah, I think so. Not too shabby. Daniel, if you're out there, I know Daniel's building along with us. How's yours coming along? Where are you at with yours, Daniel? We are curious where you are, and anyone else for that matter. Who else is out there creating this along with us? We're curious where you are. So he does the layout of his floor first. Yeah, you do the layout of your floor first, and then cuts it out. It looks is that normally the case with the circle? Well, this is the first time you've done the circle like this.
Yeah,
this is way.
Yeah, I would. Here's the thing. I like to see everything, and when I start doing, because here's the problem. If you kind of start putting your textures in, if you would cut these and put your textures in, what'll happen is you might have blocks that look different than these blocks. These blocks might look different than these. That's why I like to, when I do the design, I try to do everything all on one piece first. That way everything's uniform. Then, it's just the way I do it. You could do it many different ways,
Right.
That's just how I do it.
That's how you're doing it. Cool.
Yeah. But there's different ways you could do your layout. Now, I don't know if you meant by like doing your texturing, or your masonry work, your block work on it,
Yeah, I think Teen was asking.
Honestly,
go ahead.
What's that?
No, go ahead, John.
I was just saying that you could cut all this, then you could put your block in. There's just so many different ways you could do it that,
Mm-hmm.
It's however you want, really. It's nothing set in stone. That's the beauty of this is really, it's kind of whatever you want to do. It's your project, There's only certain things you got to follow, but nothing's complicated here. It's pretty simple.
Right.
I'm
digging this arena build though. Like I really like. I already like just digging the centerpiece that I'm creating and working on here. I don't know. I just like it. I like it a lot. It's really
hell
cool.
Yeah. It's good.
It's a fun build. Like you said, very, very simple. You could do this all with a hot wire knife if you didn't have. You could do it with just a carving knife, as Michael is demonstrating. You can do it however you want. Sanders got a question. Do you have a set radius for the outer and inner circle?
Mm-mm.
No.
Nope.
What did you use? What was it 13 and a half inches today?
13 and a half, and that was the diameter of the pizza box.
That was yeah, that's right. The pizza box was the measure today, Sander.
Yeah.
Daniel
Complicated stuff.
Daniel is drawing the masonry right now, so that's good. You're doing great here. Well, yeah.
Something's not lagging. Daniel should just jump back in.
We could. Daniel, we can try it. Danny. If it's an excellent condition, you want to jump back in, brother, and see how this goes. You can join us. Get back in it. Let's see what it does. Nice. Yeah, that's looking cool. I'm digging it. All right, here's number one. I guess I can continue. So what I will do for that continuation, right, that you were talking about, John, I am going to take a couple of these lines and start them along the same pathway and trajectory.
I'm going to start gluing.
Consistency. You're gluing bricks? Are you gluing bricks?
I'm going to glue my bricks and then cut it after the bricks are glued, like John.
Oh, smart. I went haywire. I was just like, I'm going off the reservation, as it were. Okay. Um, Daniel's gonna keep it safe. He's like, I don't want to mess with the stream. He's gonna stay off. I promise, Danny. Sometime soon, this is gonna change. I'm gonna evolve it. We're gonna get this stream to the next level. That's one of my goals. Cool. So, John, have you been building a lot during this time at home, or have you been working a lot? Like, what's been the crafting schedule like?
I've been building a lot, pretty much. I've
Right.
been just kind of building just to pass the time, really,
Sure.
give you something to think about and get your head into. But I mean, even oh, got a little bit of that. I picked up building a little bit more, but I try to get it in when I can. Either if I'm painting miniature or doing the terrain, uh, I try to get it in. Usually, what I like to do is I'll build about 5 pieces of terrain.
Yeah.
I won't paint them. I'll just get them to the point where they're ready to Mod Podge. Once they're there, and I got 5 pieces, then I paint. So I'll build until I'm tired of it, and then I paint. And then I'll
Right.
I'll paint until I'm tired of it. It's kind of a thing.
That's good. That's a good workflow. That's a great workflow. Not a bad setup. So you don't burn. It is easy. I know I'm getting ready to take a break from work here for the holiday, and I know I'm gonna burn. I'm gonna be crafting a lot. So I am planning on seeing how much I can build in that short period of time. It'll be fun.
Oh yeah, that's what's nice. See, I'm going to set up. Make sure you got a 90 on your, which is really easy. I want to show you. I don't know. Did you have a problem getting a 90 with your Proxon cutter?
I felt like it
Mine,
was pretty good. Initially, truthfully, when I first set it up, I never checked the 90. I just started. I was so excited, and I started ripping stuff. I I,
yeah.
I haven't been able to. I haven't had any issues getting it to the 90.
Okay. See, I had a little bit of an issue with mine. One side was perfect,
Uh huh.
and then all of a sudden, it on the other side now, it wasn't. It was off.
Right.
And I, I seen where I think it was Black Magic Craft said, go ahead and wiggle it and try to move the armor. I think he said to use washes. I can't remember. And I did that and it still was off a little bit. And I said, man, oh man. And it just irked me. Although honestly, it's really not a big deal because unless you're cutting something vertical all the way up the wire, it really don't matter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yep.
But it still kind of irked me a little bit. And I finally kind of got it to where it's straight. And I actually just used a piece of aluminum in the slider part
Oh,
where
okay.
it slides up and down on that shaft there or the neck. I put a shiv in there or a shim. I shimmed it up. Once I shimmed it up, it's pretty close, but it took me a little bit to get it right.
Well, that's interesting. I've heard other folks have issues with the Proxon too, and I'm just always curious. Like it's such a great tool, but it's not without its it's not without its flaws. That's for sure. That's
Yeah.
for sure. That's one of them. That 90 being able to sit there. I feel I feel like it definitely my wire seemed to I was having issues with my wire recently, and that's where I was struggling. I was like, it's not cutting, and it was like really wobbling on me. And I guess what
Yeah.
I'd not done is I hadn't adjusted the top screw. Here, I'll pen it over for you guys. This is what I was having issues with, and I didn't have this right here, right? This top portion was too loose. It was too loose for me. So I had to make sure the spool at the top was tightened down accordingly, so
Yep. Yep.
it wouldn't wiggle on me. So that was an issue I hadn't encountered before, and I recently, broke the string. It snapped on me, so I had to redo it. And I guess over time, I've never really adjusted that since the initial tightening and putting when I assembled the Proxon. So something to always check. Make sure you've got a good tightening on there. Again, Jeremy from Black Magic Craft has a great video on his channel, like on the idiosyncrasies and some of the pros and cons of the hot wire cutter and some of the issues that you can encounter. And I think that's one of the things. That's where I went back and referenced. I went back and was like, what is going on with my crazy Proxon? Like, how do I fix this? So that was a huge help. Thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for helping me cut better.
Yeah, I see. I had to watch his too, and I watched it, and it helped a little bit, but it didn't quite. It was still just a little, and I really didn't feel comfortable yanking on that arm and doing all of that.
Yep.
And I just kind of did that. And I'll show you. But I'll tell you another thing: when you're making your cuts on your Proxon, what kind of helps, give it a wiggle back and forth, just real small. I don't know if you can see that.
What do you mean you're wiggling it? Like, oh, you're just doing a slight wiggle?
Yeah, because what that's going to do is that's going to give you ridges, which is really going to come in handy when you're dry brushing. So come in and just kind of keep it moving, but give it wiggles. I'll show you here. Let me make this cut. And that's going to be another one of those little things that help.
Okay.
Now, see, you're going to get a real super defined edge, which is going to help you with your dry brushing. Now we're going to cut in here, but see, it's going to give you these basically crack marks, Now that's good for this project here. It might not be good for others, but it's going to give you ridges. Now these here will be nice when you dry brush. Boy, they're just going to pop. They're going to look good.
Is there any
that's
way
a little extreme. No. I wouldn't quite do that extreme. I kind of like wiggle a little bit, then I stop and I give it a smooth face, and then I'll start wiggling it again. Then I stop. That's the more realistic way. I just did that more exaggerated here. Kind of wiggled, because in nature, it's never the same. You're going to get crags and cracks in one, and then it's going to smooth out a little bit, and then you can wiggle it again. And I'll do that. I'll show you that one there. I'll do it on this one here, and then you're going to get variations, or it'll give you your piece interest. You never want to make your piece look the same throughout. So I'm kind of giving it a wiggle. Now I'm going to stop. I'm going to run that straight. Now that face is straight. Now I'm going to go ahead and wiggle it a little bit. Give her a little bit of a cracks. Don't worry about it. Just kind of, it's kind of weird the way I'm doing this.
If I don't wiggle, and I didn't wiggle.
Yeah.
If I didn't wiggle ahead of time, is there any way I can achieve that same texture and creating that texture after the fact? Like, is it with the hot wire knife?
Yeah. But now you got to watch, because you're going to, I'll show you what to do with that. Yeah.
I feel like that's going to be the most crazy part for me.
Yep.
Like I'm worried I'm going to screw that part up when I go back to add in that wiggle texture. I'm self-conscious of that one moment.
Yeah, heck no. That's easy. Let me bring this back over here. Okay, I'll set this back up. Actually, let me clean up. I got to clean as I go here. I'll have stuff all over the place.
Oh, you clean as you go? I never clean. I just leave it. Just leave it.
I'd wind up with stuff all over the place. It'd be everywhere. I'm not going to super clean. I'm just going to knock all this stuff. These little edges here, man, they get on your clothes. You'll have them through your house. You'll have them all over the.
Oh yeah.
The thing is vicious. There we go. All right. So now all the pieces are cut. Now you got to remember, this ain't the way I would do it. I got one half done. I just did that for this video.
Yeah.
That's not how I would normally do it at all. Now let's see. This is a big thing right here. Let's see what we have. Because like I said, I really don't know. I really don't. So now you're going to grab your pieces, put them together. This is kind of a big reveal, I guess. because really I don't know how that's going to look. So move this back. I want to move. Let me move this out of the way. I want some of these.
Teen is asking the wiggle that you were doing, John. Is that a side to side motion, or
Yeah,
is it up and is it wiggle up and down or side to side?
yeah. You want to cut into the piece, into the face. Cut into the face. Yeah. Don't ever pick your piece up off of your table. Leave it on your
So it's
table.
a side to side wiggle, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Side to side. Yeah. I mean, you can lift it up off the table. Like I say, here's the thing. Do what you want. I mean, you're going to find techniques and you're going to find tricks. Experiment. There's no right way to do any of this. It's kind of, you just got to kind of do it, and that's how you find out these really tricks. And people are like, "What the hell did you do there?" Well,
I just did it.
You're just fooling around. Yeah, you're fooling around and you find stuff. But that is, to answer her question, it is a side to side.
Side to side, teen. Side to side.
Yep.
Side to side.
Yep. Side to side.
Oh man, guys, I really, really like the nail. I'm excited. Like you're saying, like different ways to experiment. I like the nail head to create the tile texture here. That's been a lot of fun for me. That's just a way I hadn't textured the foam before. I really like how that's turning out to create the grout lines. Now do I go back and trace all that stuff? I don't know. Do the bolt? No, just wiggle side to side, teen, side to side. But John is also saying you can always experiment.
Yep. Experiment. That's the big thing with this. There's nothing set in stone. It's kind of, you can't really mess nothing up. You just kind of do it. So see, I'm seeing this now the way it's broken down. It don't look too bad. I mean, you got to remember there'll be walls here. Right. That's just a regular broken apart. So you can have your miniatures down here, your gaming mat. This could be lava. You could go buy blankets on Amazon, whatever, however you want to do it. You could airbrush, but anyhow, so here's your lava. Let's just say this would be lava. So this guy would not be in there. It could be water, or this could be just the ground, and these could be raised areas. So you'd have your 4 entries. Now here's what I was concerned about is, see, I don't know what this is going to look like. I don't know. Like you're saying, it's kind of an experiment. And my theory was, I think that the 90s on the square would look a little bit better, but I could be wrong.
Right.
But now here's one here. And now you got this kind of a funky opening here, which I guess ain't too terribly bad. It's kind of an unnatural looking corridor. But I mean, it's a different, but then you could use your other piece too. Actually, that's what I want to do. Now I got to go get this piece real quick.
Yep.
Now see what's going to be nice with both of these pieces is now I had this toy when I was 4 years old and I still have it.
Nice.
Today. Believe it or not.
Perfect for the tabletop. It looks great.
Listen, you remember He-Man?
Oh yeah, brother. Oh yeah.
Listen, I want you to see something.
Oh.
Now this is where this dragon was slayed about 100,000 times. Okay, if you look real close, you see that blood, that red.
Yeah.
That was crayon. Okay. Yeah. Now see that cut right there? That's where He-Man's sword went. That's how you killed it. You put that sword right in the middle of both heads, man. That's how you killed that dragon. I would put that sword in there, and I had blood running down through here. I was probably maybe 4 or 5 when I first got this thing, and I still have it. I still have it to this day.
That's pretty awesome. We should start taking our kids' toys, Michael, and we'll start drawing crayon on it and cannibalizing it.
Oh yeah.
All right.
But anyhow,
I'm gonna try. I guess it's time to start laying some bricks down.
In my video this week coming, Colin, I've actually done a kids' toy mod.
Oh, have you? Yeah. I love it. I can't wait to see it. I was gonna say too, if we're talking about the battle mats, you guys, if you haven't seen Michael did a tutorial on painting your own battle mat and to lay down on the table. That's a really cool video. It's early. That was one of your earlier videos, brother, and I really like that one. I wish I was a better artist, but that's still one. I'm gonna attempt that one of these days. Like, it's gonna be one of my projects over the break. Like, can I create a battle mat to throw down, especially now that we have this cool modular ruin that John's showing us? That's going to be a perfect complement to throw it down. Like, I want to do one side that's like water, and like I can do water on one side and then maybe like water or lava on the other side. I think that would be like a cool way to add some versatility to that. Oh man, here we go. You ready? One of your 1.9 thousand viewers is digging on your Amon Soul, Amy Root, who is my friend that I told you about the play. Amy Root is that playwright. A Pirate's Life for She, coming soon to Broadway everywhere when Broadway opens again, hopefully. Michael, off topic. Sure, this is your question for you. Your Amon Soul build on your channel last week was so incredible. The vines and the statues. It was. I was mesmerized. Love the audio clip to take us through the final finish too.
Awesome.
Super cool.
The audio clip for the final bit was my dad reading it.
Yeah, I think so.
All 3 books by my dad on CD.
Dude.
Present for me and my siblings about 5 or 6 years ago.
Oh, that's so cool. That's super rad.
I just love that I get to have that for the rest of my life. I have my dad for the future. That's great.
It is phenomenal. That's super cool. I have a question, John, about the brick. Like, how far off are you putting the bricks on your square on the square ones, or on your circular ones too? How far from the edge are you laying those down?
These ones here, I laid right on the edge almost.
Okay, cool, perfect. That's
Now,
what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna do with mine.
I got see, how do I want to do this? Okay, I'm gonna lay some brick. See, this is weird because this is just not how I would do it. But I finished one side. It's just so bizarre, man. It's like, and it kind of like mine screws me a little bit. Let me see. Yeah. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to start gluing brick. I'll just start gluing brick now. Or gluing block. See what happens. Right? Yeah. Guess that will hurt.
Okay.
I'm really
Amy Root, do the Packers play today? Amy Root's a huge Packers fan. Do the Packers play today? Who do they play? Who are you guys beating today? Hopefully. Yeah. Amy's saying it's an incredible gift that your dad gave. I agree. That's super rad. That is super rad.
Awesome.
I really enjoyed the TARDIS video last week. I haven't gotten to watch all of your brother's lecture yet. I'm about half hour into it, and it's quite fascinating. But how stoked was he to receive that TARDIS for his time travel demo?
He loved it. Put it this way, he's not getting a Christmas present.
That's a big one, dude. That was a big build. That was intense, bro. He's not getting a Christmas present. No way. No way, bro. Oh yeah, I'm gonna have to pick up my pace here if I'm gonna add all of these for the section. How are you doing over there, John? Where are you at now with how are you feeling now that we're nearing the or that you've been working with the circular version of these ruins? What are your thoughts on it?
I like it.
You like it?
I'm glad I did it. Yeah, I dig it. It's something different, you know. and it looks good. I kind of, you know what? Yeah. Well, anyhow, it looks good. I dig it. It looks good. Actually, these pieces look good with the squares both together on one piece, because now you're getting, which I'm kind of sitting here thinking now, do I want to paint this the exact same color scheme as what I did the square one and then intermix them? You know what I mean?
Oh, cool.
I don't know. I mean, it's an option, because when I color, I keep recipes of my paint jobs.
Oh,
So
nice.
that way,
Nice.
yeah, I know, like I can go and look at a piece and say, yeah, that looks good. You know, well, I just take it and I pull my recipe card and on my recipe, it tells me the exact steps, exactly what kind of paint, how I painted it. Was it dry brushed? What color, you know, and even the brand of the paint.
Do you keep that? Is that written down, or do you keep it in a
Yeah,
document?
it's written down. Yeah, it's written on a recipe card. Each step I make, I write it down. I write down the steps. So like say my first one, I Mod Podge it. Now my first color is going to be apple barrel dark granite. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I dry brush that on. Well, I write that down. First step after Mod Podge, you know, and of course I'll name it, you know, whatever the piece was. And then I'll go ahead and write that down, you know, apple barrel dark granite, you know, dry brush, and then the second coat, and so on and so forth.
What a great way to catalog all of your paint schemes and keep it consistent.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, I'm colorblind, and for me to go back and look at something is almost impossible. Sure. You know, so that's why too. The reason I do that, you know, is yeah, so I can go back, I can look and say, okay, you know, because it's hard, even if you weren't colorblind, it would be hard to, because I got some paint jobs that I literally, there's 10 steps. I don't do that much anymore, but I do have some. My glazes, I got glazes that are, I mean, it's 3 cards long of how many colors I layer over top. You know what I'm saying? To get that one color, it's crazy, you know.
Glaze for days.
Glaze for days. That's it too.
Oh man, Daniel, where are you at with your build? How you doing? Update us in the chat. Michael, I see you've got quite a wall working on over there. It's looking good, brother. It's looking good. I'm getting there. I gotta move some of this stuff out of the way so I can. Oh yeah. Oh, that looks great. That looks great, brother. Oh yeah, yeah. You got a nice big circumference in that middle for that middle playing arena. That's great. That looks great. Oh my gosh, I don't want to jinx it right now, but man, this might be. Chris Ford, are you watching this? Are you seeing this, Chris Ford? I'm like creating like a perfect square here with my bricks. This is a first. I'm actually creating something that's square and even here. I'm excited. He's probably going to be like, yeah, the build's not done yet. That's what he's going to say. He's going to be like, bro, the build's not done. Talk to me afterwards, after it's done. Let's see. Hand laying those bricks. Gremlins are busy. That's what we like to hear, Daniel West. The gremlins are a crafting.
This is where I need to come from.
Dude, right? Like the gremlins right here would be kind of clutch. You could put them to work and get everything done for you. Let's see. What else do we? Ow! Hot glue is hot. This glue is warm. Yeah, I'm digging this. As soon as I lay this down, oh, I've got a little bit of ridges. John, if you can see it on mine, I want to go back and I want you to walk me through because I've got some pretty clean lines, and I could go through and I could simply cut. I could do some cuts and add more texture to this ridge line here into the circle part of the middle part of the arena, but I want you to show me here in a few minutes how to handle this inside line here with the hot
wire.
Yeah, with the hot wire. That'd be great. I'd love to pick your brain on that.
Yeah, well, let me get mine set up and heated up, and I'll do this other side here with the hot wire.
Nice. Let's see. So it's a build this week, Michael. For going back to your video this week, I don't want to give too much away, but like you repurpose a toy.
I found, a little toy that I have basically completely reworked.
Oh, nice.
Really happy with it, I'll be honest. It's going to be cool. And I'm trying to do, I'm doing several things I've never done before this week.
That's always fun when you get to try something new. I'm excited to see what you come up with. Toy build. Oh, is that there? That's pretty close. Let's go with that. I'm gonna use this side brick. Yeah, I went outside to texture all my bricks this morning, guys, and I was just like, I'm like 8 o'clock on a Sunday, and I started shaking it, and it was like, and I was like, oh, maybe I should have done this inside. My poor neighbors immediately to our right, they're like, what are you doing? The crafter's crafting again. Sorry, neighbors. Hopefully I didn't wake you. Yes.
Yeah, I had a tumbler one time. I had this tumbler, and I said, there's got to be an easier way. And I did the stone thing too, just to check it out and stuff,
Yeah.
and sticking it in there. So I did that one time, and I said, man, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get my tumbler, which is kind of like filled with media. And that's how you like tumble polished stones, all kinds of stuff like that, and it's basically a cylinder and it vibrates. When it vibrates, this media goes around, and if you have like brass or metal or stuff, it shines it up, I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to put some stones in there, and I'm going to throw all my bricks in there. I'm going to turn that sucker on and let it run. And, believe it or not, it did tumble for a while. It didn't quite do. It was still kind of little, but it did work. I mean, it did do it. But the problem too is it made it kind of like shredded them. And the block was like, it became almost fuzzy, and it was kind of weird, and I said, oh man, I wish that would have worked.
Well, you don't know unless you try.
Nope, that's it. Experiment.
You got to try. So you've got this circle build, John. Is there anything in the future you're thinking about crafting or working on? Is there any like big project that you've been thinking about tackling but you've put off, and is it on the horizon for you?
I did. I have a couple things I was thinking about building. One would go real good with the UDT, or that Ultimate Dungeon Terrain.
Oh yeah.
I was thinking what would be cool, and I'm not really a that UDT. I don't think I would really use a whole lot. Mm-hmm. But I was thinking, because it's small, so you got your UDT, your disc, and a lot of times, like, you'll have a scene where you're going to be at like the fish market, okay?
Yep.
And so you're at this fish market, but then the next scene might be a armory, But what I was thinking is you'd have a building, okay, made out of, I don't know, whatever you would want, and you would actually just have like a false front that would connect with magnets on the front of it. And you could change that building out. Now, this building would probably be made out of wood, like plywood, something like that. And it'd be like just a little square building, but you could cut your foam real thin or whatever, and do a front, and then you can attach it with magnets. So you could go from having a fishmonger's market to a blacksmith forge, or an old rundown shack. or a magic shop, chemistry shop, thieves guild, whatever, you know what I mean? But you, instead of having each individual building, you would actually just have the pieces that would connect to your one building that you built. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So you would just change that building instead of having a whole bunch of buildings, you know?
That's super
I
cool.
don't know. I was thinking about that. I might do that sometime. Now, see, like here, yeah, and I mean, if someone else wants to do it, try it. You know what I mean? I don't. Yeah, if you, any guys out there that's into that UDT, you know, that ultimate dungeon terrain, they want to try that. I mean, hey, try it.
Might as well.
You see, like here, now that I'm laying these blocks, and like you're saying, I'm laying these blocks kind of wild, you know what I mean? But I want to make sure that my, yeah, you know, I wanted to make sure that I got line of sight, you know. So I'm going to, like, here, I'm not going to put a block, because I'm going to want him to be able to shoot an arrow through there, shoot a gun through there.
Right.
Here, actually, technically, you could probably shoot an arrow through that, you know. So I'm going to start breaking these walls up. That way, you never want to, here's the thing, you never want to, like, totally, because your miniatures, you know what I mean? If you can't shoot a gun through there, now they got to kind of come out here to make the shot and then come back in.
Yep.
As in, you know, you want them to be able to make their shots and stay in cover at the same time. Although they're actually coming out of cover when they got to make their shot.
Right.
But still, you know, you want to give them something that way. That way, you know, they could get down in there and they could hold off in there for a while,
Right.
you know, and give them away until they can get flanked. Or, and that's more, like I said, that's more of a Warhammer type deal gig. But I mean, you can still do it with D&D too.
Yeah, you can do it in D&D too, using firing from, you know, half cover or full cover. Like
It's all in the book.
It's all another important element for giving you versatility as a player and as a DM, what you put on the table for your players, as well as what you decide to do as a player as well.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah. You always want to kind of keep it open. That way, you can, like I say, and your players are going to be able to have tactical advantages here and there, and it makes it interesting. It just keeps things really interesting, you know.
Sander has Sanders our math guru here on the Crazy Crafter live stream. He says, okay, math is fun. I solved the issue for the 4 segments regarding the circle that you created. He's like, the issue for 4 segments for more segments. He needs to do some more brainstorming, but he's working on it. So that's cool. You have to, Sander, you're going to have to keep us posted and let us know how all that evolves. That's going to be a blast. All right. Check it out. I've got a corner. Look at this.
Here, hold on 1 minute. Let me pop you up. There you go. Yep.
Good, right?
There it is. Oh, yeah.
Coming up good. Let's see what it looks like with the battle raging dwarf barbarian inside of it. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, my dwarf is a little shorter, so apropos, kind of, he's barely peeking out there.
Yeah.
he needs a boost. I need like a little apple crate so he can get a little bit higher, but that's kind of perfect.
You could do that. Just cut a stone or something like that. That's all I too, and that's a good point. I always keep a dwarf with me because you can see the size difference. And see, the dwarves always get the short end of the stick. You know what I mean? Because you're like, okay, well, this guy, he can definitely shoot. And dude, I've done it. I do it all the time. And I said, I am not going to give the dwarves the short end of the stick. So you can see he's got cover. He can shoot, but see, he can actually shoot too, or whatever. All the dwarves don't even really use bow and arrows. I don't know. I guess they can.
I used ranged attack in my campaign on Friday. I had to. So we had a really, really fun session on Friday where the town that we are currently in is under siege, and it's under siege from a demon army from hell. And it's we split the party, and we had some reserves, like command of basically smaller, like city troop, some Rakshasa. It's a long story that the Rakshasa are like fighting with us right now. But there's some Rakshasa and there's some gladiators from the arena too. So we had basically where we wanted to split our party or forces to kind of defend the city, as it were. And I went over with a smaller contingent of the party, and I was like, oh, no problem. I'm gonna jump down. These bigger dudes are trying to work on this gate. I'm gonna go down and wreck these smaller dudes that are behind coming up. Yeah, those smaller dudes cast fire. Were casting fireballs, so they were ranged. I didn't know that. Good thing I didn't jump down there right away because they wrecked me pretty hard in that first round, and I didn't take cover. So then I proceeded to go up into the tower, get behind some cover, and I had some javelins and some throwing axes, and that's what I was hurling at these dudes because I had to. If I'd have jumped down there, they'd have smoked me because it would have been taken. It had been taken multiple fireballs from. At the time, it was 7, and then as the rounds progressed, more started to show up. So it was a good call on my end, but I got very lucky. This dwarf was lucky he was packing some throwables for that siege. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to do any damage.
Couldn't do nothing.
But then, so I've multi-classed into fighter, and I'm 2nd level fighter. So when we had reinforcements show up, I was able to jump down on top of one of the big dudes, action surge. I crit on one of them and did like 99 points of damage on one turn to one of the big bags.
Nice.
So that was pretty cool.
Okay. Did the business.
Yeah. So, dude, I'm having a blast with my character. My character's having a blast in our campaign. Okay, so check this out. Here's the measurements, John. You ready for this? Sanders got it for us.
Okay.
For 4 segments, oh man, you speaking where it's DI equals do dot pi parenthetical -4. Oh man, here we go, Sander.
Yeah,
where DI
totally
the diameter is for the inner circle, and DO is the diameter of the outer circle. So that equation is the diameter equals the diameter. So you want to do this the outer circle is dot pi. What is pi? What is pi, Sanders? So
is that pi?
Yeah, it might be pi. It might be pi divided by 4.
I don't know.
So it's okay. I'm copying this. I'm gonna copy it. I'm copying this, and we're gonna save it for later. Because that's gonna be important. I want to remember this, and I want to see if that figures out. Because I want to utilize it for my stuff. Okay, I'm writing this down, Sander. Got to get a good old piece of paper here. So it is DI equals DO. Are you gonna make me do math, Sander? Dude, you're gonna make me do math. Not right now on the stream, but I'm gonna figure this out. This is gonna be cool. DI equals diameter of inner circle. Thanks for working this out, Sander. This is dope. DO diameter of outer. Now, was PI pi there? We're assuming it's pi, Sander, but please confirm. Please confirm for the theater arts major. Thank you.
Yeah, because you know what? I told you I'm horrible.
It's
horrible.
3.14. We were all correct there. But again, that's just for 4 segments. Daniel wants to talk magnets because his gremlins are like done. So let's talk a little bit about the magnet placement for
sure
this today.
Yep. Okay.
Now is this for the circle? Are you doing the circle, Daniel?
Let me go ahead and stop.
Yeah.
Let me stop for one moment.
Yep.
Let me set up and we'll do magnets. I'm going to let this piece dry.
Great.
I'm going to set it off to the side.
Perfect. That sounds great. Oh, yeah. Oh yes, hot glue, bricks, coffee, good company. It's a good Sunday. It's a good Sunday. So thank you all again for joining us today on the live stream. If you haven't done so already, be sure to give this stream a like, and then make sure you subscribe and turn on the bell notification so you know when we go live. Typically, we are going live every Sunday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. However, this is a good time to bring this up. Next week's stream, our guest on the show, Raymond Nix from GotDM, he runs his game Sunday morning. So Ray's basically going to finish up his game and then jump on and join us. Very, very awesome that we're able to still have him come on. But we're going to start that stream a little later in the day. So it's going to be a little bit deeper into the evening for some of you folks around the world, or different parts of the country. We're going to do a 12:30 start time, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time next week. But I'll be sure to post and notify everyone. It'll be on the stream here soon. I'll create it very shortly after this one wraps. Okay, how we doing there, John? Are you ready to rock?
Yeah.
Okay.
And also, I forgot about you was wanting to do the edges, correct, with your hot wire?
Yeah, let's before we
Okay.
get into the edges, what do you think? What do you want to do? Let's talk. I think the magnets will be good because we can touch upon the edges here in a little bit. I want to see the magnets too because I'm in a place where I can magnetize as well.
Okay. All right. Let me see. Let me get now. These two pieces here are. See, I could never do this. These are all done, and they've been sitting for 24 hours, so I can actually do this. And so I didn't even really test. So see, I'm going to you just set this on here. I didn't even look at this yet. This is the first time you're seeing these actually sitting on top of each other like that.
That looks
so
great.
let me see. I want to check this. But see, I made my cord one higher. So it's 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cords higher because see, I wanted to have more room in here for your miniatures, because the other one was just a little bit too tight.
Yep.
This one here is nice. You can put your miniature in, you can grab them out with no problem. So that works good. So that's why it's always handy to keep your miniatures with you.
Your mini around.
Yeah, keep your miniatures around. Check your scale as you build.
Not a bad idea.
Here's the back side. So it's kind of like there it is.
Oh, that looks really cool.
Yeah, that turned out pretty cool. So I can kind of drop my mini in there, and I could probably put my dwarf or my thief right here. So that looks good. I'm kind of happy. I kind of got them over there. That looks good. So now we're going to move it into magnets. And basically what I do with the magnets is instead of measuring, because you would literally have to sit here and measure all this. I don't do that. Like I said, I don't do math. I never was good at math. I'm terrible at it. So I just learned how to adapt without it. That's where the nails come in. If you excuse me one moment, I'm going to get a square. And basically all we're going to do is the first piece you're going to do, okay, I wouldn't cut the bottom. I wouldn't bevel this bottom, leave it flat. So this is now going to be designated my bottom piece. Or wait a minute, maybe it's not. Yeah, it can. So this will be my bottom piece right here. Okay, so I'm going to move this off the top. I want to check to make sure everything is flush. So I'm checking underneath. Everything's laying flat. Everything's laying flat on that. And so now this will be my bottom piece. What I'm going to do is just basically grab a nail. Okay. Here's your nail. Now one end is flat.
Mm-hmm.
There's actually kind of a reason for that, you know, other than, yeah, you do cut it like that, but I kind of like to leave it like that. Just take it and wherever on this piece do you want one magnet. Usually you're going to need two. You can put three. I'm going to put a magnet right here. And I'm going to put a magnet right here. Or where do I want to put the magnet here? I guess it really don't matter, huh? I'm just going to put one here, actually, and one here. So I'm going to shove the magnet down. I'm going to shove this piece of nail down into the foam. What this is going to do is this is going to mark, okay, where your piece is going to go, and try to shove it down pretty far. Yeah, it don't have to be flush, but it's got to be close.
Got mine in there. Cool.
Now you're going to get a hole. Don't worry about it, because you got to remember there's going to be a nail coming in here. You know what I'm saying? So it's not an issue. So here's your first one. So then we're going to ram the second one down in here. It don't matter. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back on here a little ways. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and put this one right in here on this one. So I'm going to run this nail, and this is going to be your, like I said, this will be your marker. There she is. That's your marker right there. This one. This one. Now it's important to put it down as far as you can. Excuse me, one moment. I'm going to grab a pair of pliers here. I want to force this one down. You'll see why.
She yanked my nail out and I flew it across. I know what I see what you're doing now.
Yeah, I'm going to force mine down as close to the surface as you can. Now that'll be for your lining up purposes. So anyhow, just shove them down in there, whatever. That's good right there. Now you're going to take this piece. Now, let me show. There it is right there. Now, you want them to be straight. I mean, it could be as straight as really what you want. What I'm going to do is I'm going to I want this to be a little bit square. I definitely want it to be square here. You know what I mean? I don't want it to be like way off here.
Right.
I kind of want to square it up, you know. So I'm going to square one side of it. It's not perfect. It's just kind of right there. So that's good enough. That's good enough. I'm going to shove that one piece down. Now this is going to pivot. This is going to go this way. Just basically come around here, and you can see how far off I am on this side, which is no big deal. I'm going to spin this around. Bump this up against here. And I'm going to probably have to make a change. I can't tell. Yeah, see how this is off? So what that's telling me is this is going to have to actually be centered kind of like this. I'm not going to be able to do that. I could do that with the other one. This one I couldn't. So that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and just center it. Make sure my nail is going to come out here. Kind of just go like that, center it, and shove it down. Check the backside. Yep, that looks good. I'm going to move it back just a little bit. Just a little bit. Now you're going to see I put marks on these, right?
Yep.
Already. What I do, that's void. So what I do, I come in, I'm marking them. Void, void, void this one out. Don't pay attention to it because I want a new mark. That's only got one right there.
Nice.
So maybe I'll just come in like this. Like I say, this is kind of new. The other way went easier, but it takes fooling with. So now I'm going to put it in from the back side, not worry about squaring it up. Set her on down. There it is. Perfect. That's it. That's going to be my mark. I'm going to stick right with that. That looks nice. Good.
That looks great.
Good. That's fine. So now we learned how to do it. You got to do it from the back. You can't get a 90, which is fine. So that's that. Now I made 2 holes. Okay. in here, and that's what the nails are for. So this hole here is going to correlate with this one and that one.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a circle. It's kind of weird with the camera. Okay, I'm going to circle that. This is just how I'm doing it. I know that this is right. Put a circle on there. That's good. Okay, so that's my hole. It's going to line up. This is my hole. It's going to line up. Now what I'm going to do is go to a nail. Okay, now pull your piece out. So now I see what basically the method of the madness is. This hole is going to line up perfect. Absolutely perfect with that hole. That hole will line up perfect. No measurements, nothing. That will always line up where I eyeballed it. Always. This one here, that hole right there that I circled will always, always line up with this hole here. That's kind of what you want. Instead of measuring and going through it, you just eyeball it. Push it down, you get your mark. There you go. You know what I mean? There it is.
No
so now,
deal. Just eyeball it, he says.
Just eyeball. You know what I mean?
I have a feeling, John, if I were to eyeball like you eyeball, it's gonna be a little different outcome for me.
Hey, listen, you can always, the marks that you make on there, if you don't like them, put an X through it, put a mark through it, and do it again. You could do it X amount of times, you know. So yeah, you're good. Just fool around with it. Now I got the nail. The reason I use these nails, I don't put two magnets together because they're so powerful. These magnets are just crazy. And I'm talking to people that's never really messed with them. I know most people understands this, you know.
Sure.
But these magnets are so strong that you really don't need two magnets back to back because it's just so powerful that I'm afraid they're going to rip out. You know, these things are just, so what I do is one side's going to have a nail. Okay. All I'm going to do is shove the nail into the hole. Simple as that. Just shove the nail into this hole. What you're looking for is you're looking for this flat head. This is going to be the surface that's going to connect. And you can see the connectivity. Jesus Christ. It's strong. I mean, now imagine if there was two, it would rip out. I mean, you could probably do it, but man, it don't need to be that strong.
It doesn't need to be. So I like that idea earlier. You shared that before we started today, utilizing, because I was like, oh yeah, we use two magnets, and you were like, well, you can get away with the nail works great. It's enough to keep it for what you need it for the tabletop. It's just a good alternative and more bang for the euro, as it were.
Yep, exactly. So then what I do, just take my nail, and the bigger this head is on here, of course, you know, the more your magnet's going to stick to it. So you might want it a little stronger. For me, I don't think it's necessary. So then I'm just going to take it. Now this kind of looks ugly here. It's not going to matter because you're going to take it. You're going to shove that straight. I'm going to have to make this straight. It's kind of weird doing this on camera.
You're doing great. This is great.
Thank you. Yeah, it's different. That's for sure. Oh, it's definitely different.
We're on that learning curve and that journey with you, John, where we're like, how do we do this on camera and make sure we can see it? You're doing everything you're describing is articulate and makes complete sense. You're doing great, brother.
So there it is. That's going to be your magnet. Now, I don't even put glue on here. You don't need it. By the time you Mod Podge this, you're not going to need it. Now, really? I got big, long nails. I'm telling you, they're not going to come out.
Okay.
By the time you shove it. Now, it's up to you. You can put glue on there if you want. You don't have to. You know what I mean? It's going to friction fit. These nails are that long. I mean, that's down in the piece a good ways, you know. So I'm going to check. Looks good. Like you're saying, if you want to put some glue on it, that's fine. Go ahead. You want to keep this on the top. Don't push it too far in, subsurface. Leave this sitting on a surface so your magnet's going to.
So so it can connect to it.
Yep. Okay, so now I'm just going to shove this one in. I want to straighten it up as much as I can. Shove her on in. There you go. Now I got two surfaces.
Yeah.
And then the last part. So this is what's nice about doing it like this is you don't have to measure. You don't have to, you could do this with anything. I don't care what you're doing. You know what I mean? When you're using magnets,
Mm-hmm.
it's, just do it like that. Have one piece in there, line your piece up wherever you want that piece, push it in. And the closer they are originally to each other, the less gap. If your nail's sticking clear out here, let me see, if your nail's sticking clear out here, by the time you shove all the way down, you might be off. So keep them close. That way, whenever you shove your pieces together, you're only going to go that much.
Nice.
You're going to be right on. So you can put stuff so dead on where you want it, But that's it. I mean,
That's great.
it's simple.
Super simple.
Super simple. And it'll line right up. Now, this piece over here, I'm going to do the same thing with these magnets. These magnets here I ordered these forever ago. I don't even know if this place even exists. This is the company, whatever that is. Huma. Yeah. I couldn't tell you.
I couldn't tell you where mine I bought off Amazon a while ago. Just multi-use magnets. They don't necessarily have a brand on them, but they will work.
Yeah.
Any magnet, but the idea of making sure that you don't overwhelm your piece with multiple magnets. You can always get away with the one and supplement with the nail head, just like John demonstrated.
Yeah. I mean, and it saves your money, So now here, this is what I circled. Now, remember, I punched through a few times. Don't panic because you got a couple holes. Oh my goodness, I can just put a mark. Boop.
Yep.
Whatever you screw up, put a mark.
Yep.
Put a mark. I did mine 3 times. Here's my hole, and here's my hole. So now I'm going to come in with the blade. I'm going to widen this hole because I want this magnet to set right in there. Just like that. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a hole, I'm going to open this up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Now you don't want to take too much. Don't take too much. Here's the thing. You don't want your magnets to set too far below your surface. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to just kind of, I'm just barely scraping that off. Now I'm going to check it out. Kind of, I don't know if you could see that, but anyhow, I'm just going to go like that and shove her in. Test fit it, and then I'll glue it. I'm going to take a little bit more off right here. Actually, right here, I added too much, which is I took it down a little too much. It's not a big deal. What we're going to do is, there it is right there. There. So now, see how this piece is, you can have it actually below the surface, just a hair. I mean, just a hair. But anyhow, stick it in. Now, that'll work. Now I'm going to come over here. Here's my hole. It's the one I circled. And here's the ones I was kind of test fitting it. I'm just going to do the same thing. I'm going to come in here. I'm going to do a little picky pick. Get this out of here. Just thick enough, just the thickness of my my blade or my magnet.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to say that's going to be good right there. Not too deep. You don't want your magnet to go sinking clear to the bottom, but that's not a big deal if it does.
Oh, that's perfect. Picked out, and it fits in there flush. Look at that.
Yep. Yeah. Then just set your magnet in there. Once you set it in, you're done. This is a great way, even if you just take, just the way you set these magnets in is really a great way to do it on different projects.
Yep.
So now that I got both magnets on, okay, what I'm going to do is glue them. I use regular glue, so let me put this here. Actually, it would be like this. Yeah. Okay. So see now how these are going to line up. That's why I use that nail. It's just so much easier. So anyhow, just stick your nail in, push your piece on top, take it out, drop 2 nails, drop your magnets in, take it, drop them on top. Now they'll lock in right where you want them.
And then it's good to go.
Good to go. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and glue these, and basically, and maybe I can get these to dry enough. I found if you put just a little bit of glue is better than a lot of glue.
Yeah, you
So,
don't need much.
yeah, and it'll dry quick.
Much.
Yep. So there you go. That's that. We'll come over here. Pop this out. Drop her in.
Smaller brick up top. I'm finding my points of contact here as I'm building mine and as I'm going to get it ready for putting magnets in. You know, kind of that structural integrity that you were talking about earlier, and making sure that it's aesthetic. Like, I basically have I added another brick on top and went 3 layers on the corner here. So basically now when I put mine down, it'll end up when I end up getting the right positioning here, I'll have the edge and it'll be able to hold it up there. I think it'll work. It's some nice height. Something I didn't account for, John, is the height that I get with between my layers when I go vertical and stack it, because of my inch thick foam. Like I've got a really nice I've got a lot of space for minis underneath when you layer that. It's really cool. I'm digging
That's good. That's what you want.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's basically, I mean, if you put one magnet in here, you can make this thing pivot. I mean, this thing can go like this. I mean, here's an idea, really. I mean, you could have this thing, I would use 2 magnets. I'd have this a magnet, this. But if you wanted to say this was some kind of machine or something, if you wanted this to pivot, have a magnet here and a magnet here, that would be even stronger. You could make this thing pivot. Whoops, let me show you here what I'm doing. You could have this thing pivot like this.
Oh, that's cool.
You know what I'm saying? Because this would just become a joint at that point.
Super rad. I like that a lot.
Yeah. There's I'm sitting here looking at it. I'm like, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff you can kind of do with that, as having your joints. This could be a trap. You could make something here to be a trap to where you'd have a sword or a battle axe where this could turn this way.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And take someone's head off or something. Who knows? I mean, this could be a gun turret. You can make a gun turret. Your characters could have gun turrets. You know, maybe they have an ability to have a gun turret.
Yep.
You know, and they could have a gun turret on here.
I love it.
I mean, and this thing could turn. I mean, it's just something that, or you could just hook it to it. Whatever. There's a lot of stuff you can do with magnets.
Well,
okay.
Before I wanted to show viewers real quick one last thing before we if we have time, and depending on we're getting close to the end of the stream here, but I wanted you to show us the other piece of dungeon tile that you created with the interchangeable pit. I thought that was really, really cool. It's a neat design for everyone to check out. This is a really neat way to add another piece of versatile terrain to your tabletop, y'all. John's got this. John's artistry skills allowed him to create some really cool field of depth with just a simple simple tile to turn it into a 3D, make it look like it's a bottomless pit, amongst other things. So tell us a little bit about this system you created here, John.
Yeah, this would work with your. This is just a standard dungeon tile.
Right.
Okay. That's all it is. It's just your dungeon tile. So Black Magic Craft and stuff had this on there. So I wanted to have something that I could change it out. Just something I was fooling with, you know. And I thought, well, if you would just go ahead and cut a hole in your tile, okay, which is what that is, and then on the back, gut it out. Okay, so you can have a piece that would slide into there. At that point, all you're going to have to build really is go get one of these pieces of plywood at the craft store, Hobby Lobby, whatever, and then you can build on top of that. Okay, this here is a spike pit trap type deal. I don't know if you can see that or not. Is all that is. Just real quick.
That's great.
And So now I can switch out. Now again, it's modular, you know, I mean, it's kind of a switch this out. So now I'm just building one tile. I could have a spike pit trap. Now, say down the road you're playing and you say, well, you know, I want to throw something else out there. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You can do whatever. You can have lava. I did a pit. I wanted the pit to be deeper. This here, I kind of wanted it to be a pit, and it didn't look like it because of the depth. So then I went ahead and just carved out of the same stalk piece of plywood. You can get at craft stores or whatever. I went ahead and carved flat like a it's a 3D, but it's 2D.
Check this out, Michael. Check this. This is the one. This is the piece of plywood he carved.
Yeah, yeah. It's just a carved piece, you know. So that's the pit. It's supposed to be a pit. And so then when you put this here, it kind of gives you an optical illusion back here that it's a pit, you know. So you got your, even though it's not, you know.
Right.
But I wanted to give it an illusion of depth. I was like, man, you know, how do you do that? So I drew it out in perspective and just basically the inner side, I just made it dark. Then I just stepped up lighter, and lighter.
That's great.
And like I said, this was just kind of just a test, you know.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's again another cool feature to throw down. That's the standard dungeon tile that we all know and love and how to make. And then cut out there in the center, it's easily changeable, and I love again the versatility of one thing becoming it can be many different things. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's great. It's lovely. Oh man. Well, let's see where did we get to, Michael? How's you've been building away over there, my friend. It's looking pretty epic for you. How'd it turn out over there?
Good. I've completed 3 parts to my 4-part modular wall, just
Nice.
like John. I'm on my last one now. I haven't got any magnets, so I'm gonna have to order some magnets tonight so I can finish this during the week. And then it's just painting it, I guess.
Nice.
So yeah,
Nice. That's fantastic. I think the circular one is awesome, and now I'm gonna have to add it in, Sander, to figure out the measurements for an equal parts of the 4-segmented circular jig. We'll put it in the description below. We'll put the formula in there, and everyone will can get as specific as they want with the circular ones, or if you want to just do the simple 14, the other one, they're both simple, but the 14 by 14 grid, I've got 2 pieces that I've completed out of the 4, so I didn't get quite as far, but I'm really quite happy when I go in and I add the magnets into mine, they will stack up, and they should be pretty solid when I get them on board here. This is the outside portion. I'm really excited for this build, like to finish this build. This has been a ton of fun, my friend. I really want to thank you for coming on today and sharing all this wonderful information. Like you said, what a great build for anyone at any skill level, especially like a first time crafter for like a first build. I think most people start with like a dungeon tile, at least I did. And then cutting, it's good skill set, learning how to cut, whether it's with your Olfa knife, with whatever knife you have handy. If your Bard's Craft, right, your giant kitchen knife, or your Proxon, right, it's a great thing to practice all the basic skill sets of creating texture, creating something that's modular that can be utilized for more than one purpose. It's just a fantastic build.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Thank you.
Well, we're gonna wrap it up for today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today for the live stream. Always a joy to have you guys with us in craft on Sunday. Again, if you enjoyed today's live stream, give us a subscribe, smash the like button. Be sure to turn on the bell notification after you subscribe. We go live every Sunday. Next week we're going to be a little bit later, 12:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But John, thank you so much for joining us, and we look forward to having you back. Hopefully you'll come back and join us again. Hope you had a little fun today too.
Yeah, I did. I had a good time, and I had a lot of fun. This was definitely a different experience than what I'm used to, but it was a lot of fun, you know.
Good. We're glad you had some fun today. And Michael, thank you as always, brother, for joining us as well. And I can't wait to see yours all painted up and finished too.
Thank you, man. I'm really glad John was on today because this is a cool build.
It's a cool build, right? It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Look forward to seeing y'all next week. Much love. Stay healthy out there, everyone, and be sure to craft your passion daily. Till next time, cheers.
That went by so quickly.